What's up guys, it's me Jeremy, and today I'm going to bring you guys the top 5 changes to the support role from Season 3 to Season 4. Just before I start, I want to give a huge shout out to my main man Foxdrop LoL for providing me with the idea for this video, and congratulations on hitting 100,000 subscribers. Here's to 100,000 more. Also a shout out to lolclass.com, which I'm sure you noticed by the intro. They're a super legit website that makes League of Legends guides, and they enlist a lot of pros to work for them. I am pretty much officially sponsored by them and I'm doing work for them, so I can definitely attest that they have some awesome content, so be sure to check them out. Anyways, there's tons of changes to supports in Season 4, so let's get started. Starting with number 5, Vision Denial. Vision Denial is actually really difficult in Season 4, and to some extent it's almost non-existent. It's now only really reliable if you see exactly where someone places their ward. The only methods of vision denial now are the sweeping lens, which is a trinket, and pink wards. But since pink wards are now visible to anyone without a method of true sight, they're really inefficient if you don't find a ward with them, and as such are not really bought that often. However, this does mean that the sweeping lens can be pretty powerful, but it does have a very high cooldown, so even that isn't that big of a deal. Just make sure that you don't place your wards right in front of your opponents where they can see them. And because of this, controlling the map is much more difficult since you'll only be able to deny some very key ward spots rather than the entire area like you used to with oracles. Now on to change number 4, items. The gold items in Season 4 are ridiculously powerful, especially because they keep their gold generation passives even when they're upgraded. However, since they cost 365 gold, this results in the starting items being only 1 ward and 1 potion, or 2 wards usually if you get the new bandit mastery that gives 40 starting gold. This is actually a very small amount of wards to start with, so it makes getting the warding trinket fairly mandatory at the start, as otherwise you'll be ridiculously vulnerable to ganks. What I usually end up doing later is selling the warding trinket for the sweeping lens, so that I can use it to clear enemy wards. As for which gold item to buy, the Cage's Pick will give you less gold than the Philosopher's Stone in my experience, simply because it's difficult to proc the passive all of the time. So I'll really only build Kage's now if you want the early AP, or if you want to build the Shard of True Ice, which is actually a fairly solid item. And if you're building a tanky support, pick up the Executioner's Emblem, and make sure to use its gold passive to pick up CS. And it's actually a pretty solid item considering that the active on Martyr's Call is actually really powerful. These gold items overall are ridiculously overpowered and give you around 1,000 gold at the 30-minute mark, so right now starting with them is definitely mandatory. Now on to change number 3, gold. Supports in Season 4 have a ridiculous amount of gold. You can easily get as much gold as the jungler, and if you pick up a few CS or some kills and assists, you can get as much gold as a solo laner too. Since your support build is going to be relatively cheap, you can often finish your build around 40 minutes or so into the game, even if you aren't that fed. And this allows you to form legitimate builds on your champions, and results in you being able to get some very valid items and be a very big threat in team fights. Now, supports can do damage, or they can be main tanks, as opposed to just off tanks and kiting machines. This in itself is an absolutely huge buff to supports overall, and it's awesome. So if you're a support player, get ready for some awesome times in Season 4, as it's extremely easy to pick up multiple items in every single game. And on to change number 2. Warding. The changes to warding are fairly drastic, the main one being that now you can only have 3 wards on the map. Because of this limitation, Sightstone is no longer a mandatory item. This again also frees up your builds an incredible amount, and Sightstone should only be rushed on tanky supports for the health. However, this limit on wards does make controlling the map quite difficult, so use your 3 wards wisely, and you almost always never want to use them in the same areas of the map. This in turn makes juking into bushes a much more powerful strategy, since it's much harder to keep them warded, so keep that in mind while kiting too. But overall, there's a lot less vision in Season 4, so you need to get used to using your wards efficiently. Gone are the days of quantity over quality when it comes to warding. Now you have to make the best use of the wards that you've got. And lastly, we have number 1, the biggest change to supports in Season 4, and that is champion viability. In Season 3, a competitive support needed to be a champion that could kite well for a teammate and be able to perform well without any gold. Now that gold is a non-issue since supports get tons of it, now all a champion needs to be able to do to be a viable support champion is to kite well. A lot of AP mids have now become viable supports. Champions like Orianna, Anivia, and to some extent even Ahri, just to name a few, are now all very viable support champions. Now all the old support champions are still extremely viable too, and their support builds are really solid. It's just that now the champion pool for supports has easily more than doubled. So get ready to try out some awesome new strategies and lane combinations, and also be ready to face some crazy lane combinations too. This is an awesome change to the game. Bot lane has now become a very dynamic lane that can change team compositions entirely, and it makes me very excited for Season 4. My name is Jeremy, and that is it for my top 5 support changes from Season 3 to Season 4. I'll do my best to keep it up with the Season 4 guides as well, as to help you educate you guys to the new support champions. Please follow my stream at twitch.tv/Jeremy_GamingCurios for updates on whenever I'm streaming, and I'd love if you could support me with a like or join me on my North American chat room Gaming Curios, which I'm always in when I go online. Please subscribe for more awesome content in the future if you enjoyed this video, and I'd love it if you could follow me on Facebook or Twitter, of which I will have links in the description. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.